Okay, so Prime Minister Mark Carney came back from Beijing with a trade deal, and Canada's premiers are reacting like they read two completely different agreements. Doug Ford sees job losses and threats to Ontario's auto sector, while Scott Moe's over in Saskatchewan practically popping champagne over canola tariffs. It's the same deal, folks, but apparently geography determines whether you're celebrating or sounding the alarm. Here's what Carney signed off on during his visit to China this week. Canada will allow up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the country annually at a 6.1% tariff. To put that in perspective, that's a pretty low tariff rate. The deal also includes a target that half of those EVs should be priced under $35,000 by 2030, which sounds great for consumers but has Ontario's premier raising some serious concerns. Doug Ford came out swinging, and not in the fun way. He posted on X that China now has access to the Canadian market and will leverage it at the expense of Canadian workers. His worry: that Ontario's auto manufacturing sector, which employs thousands of people in places like Brampton, Oshawa, and Ingersoll, could face pressure from low-cost imports without any guarantees of Chinese investment returning the favor. Ford's also concerned this could complicate Canada's relationship with the U.S. market, which is where most Canadian-made vehicles end up. Considering the auto sector is kind of a big deal in Ontario, his reaction makes sense from a provincial perspective. Ford called on the federal government to support Ontario's auto industry by aligning regulations with key trading partners and reducing policies that he says drive up manufacturing costs. Basically, he wants Ottawa to make sure Ontario plants can compete without getting squeezed out by cheaper imports. It's a valid concern when your province's economy depends heavily on an industry that's now facing new competition. But here's where it gets interesting. Head west to Saskatchewan, and Premier Scott Moe is having a completely different experience with this exact same agreement. For him, this deal is fantastic news, and it all comes down to canola. China agreed to slash tariffs on Canadian canola seed from roughly 84% down to about 15% by March 1, 2026. That's not a typo. We're talking about going from trade-killing tariff levels to something actually workable, reopening a $4 billion export market that Saskatchewan farmers desperately need. Moe posted on X calling it very good news for Canada and Saskatchewan, emphasizing that it would restore trade volumes and create opportunities for producers. He praised the coordinated effort between federal, provincial, and industry leaders to make it happen. From his perspective, this is a win that brings back crucial agricultural exports and stabilizes a sector that's been hurting since the trade relationship with China got rocky. So what we're seeing here is classic regional economics playing out in real time. Ontario's economy leans heavily on manufacturing, especially automotive, so a deal that opens the door to cheaper Chinese EVs feels threatening. Saskatchewan's economy relies heavily on agriculture, particularly canola, so a deal that drops tariffs and reopens a massive export market feels like a lifeline. Same agreement, totally different impacts depending on where you're standing. The deal also includes reduced tariffs on other agricultural exports, which means provinces with strong farming sectors are probably viewing this more favorably than those focused on manufacturing. It's a reminder that Canada's economy isn't monolithic. What helps the prairies might challenge central Canada, and vice versa. Trade policy always creates winners and concerns, and this agreement is a textbook example. What's your take? Do you think Carney made the right call balancing auto sector concerns with agricultural opportunities, or should the federal government have pushed for more protections for manufacturing? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is far from over. And if you want to stay on top of every twist and turn in Canadian politics, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're posting multiple times a day here at Canadian Breakdown, keeping you informed without the fluff. Catch you in the next one.